Mr. Speaker, sir, this bill is timely and necessary. Racial harmony isn't something we can take for granted. It's not just about avoiding conflict. It's about creating a society where we all feel at home. This bill possesses the potential to achieve its objectives. However, its success depends on how it is implemented and perceived by the community. I have some clarifications. First, Mr. Speaker, sir, I have clarifications about the racial content restraining orders in Part 3 of the bill. These are important tools, but like all tools, they need to be handled carefully. The power of racial content restraining orders is undeniable, but with that power comes an inherent challenge, balancing enforcement with the preservation of freedom of expression. How do we ensure that these orders are not misused to stifle legitimate discourse? These include artistic expressions like parodies, satire, or critiques of societal issues that touch on race. While some content may indeed cross the line, how do we draw boundaries between harmful speech and those forms of expression that are vital for a vibrant and open society? Could the current approach inadvertently silence voices that challenge the status quo in a way that promotes reflection and growth? How will we ensure that these laws do not become a tool for shutting down uncomfortable but necessary conversations about race and identity? Education is as critical as enforcement. Are there plans to pair these measures with public campaigns that teach empathy, respect, and dialogue? Racial harmony isn't just about avoiding offense. It's about understanding each other's struggles and aspirations. Beyond penalties, how does this bill encourage connection? Laws alone don't build harmony. Harmony thrives when people see each other as neighbors, not strangers. How can this legislation inspire bridge building between communities? Second, Mr. Speaker, sir, Singapore's openness is undoubtedly a strength, but it also makes us vulnerable to external risks. Part 4 of the bill rightly addresses the challenge of foreign influence. However, it is critical that we proceed carefully to avoid unintended consequences. A recurring phrase in the bill states that it is for the accused to prove on the balance of probabilities that the accused took all reasonable steps to comply. This wording imposes a significant burden of proof on individuals, particularly volunteers who have already juggled public service responsibilities. The penalties involved are substantial, and these could inadvertently discourage Singaporeans and permanent residents from stepping forward to take on leadership roles in local associations. How can we ensure that this legislation does not unintentionally deter participation in community and cultural leadership? Moreover, how do we define and differentiate foreign influence from global collaboration? Many local associations maintain deep historical ties with overseas organizations, preserving our cultural heritage over decades, if not centuries. Could a broad definition of foreign affiliation unintentionally create barriers for such groups? Would this legislation impact non-profits or cultural organizations with harmless international connections? Transparent and proportionate enforcement will be critical to allaying such concerns. Additionally, I seek clarification on how this bill will interact with the Foreign Interference Countermeasure Act or FICA passed in 2021. Are there overlapping provisions? And if so, how will both pieces of legislation complement each other? Clarity is essential to avoid unnecessary duplication of compliance requirements. Finally, how do we measure the effectiveness of these safeguards in Part 4? Regular reviews and transparent monitoring will be necessary to ensure the measures effectively strengthen racial harmony without hindering meaningful international partnerships or discouraging our community's engagement with global networks. Third, Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm particularly encouraged by the Community Remedial Initiative in Clause 41. Offering an alternative to prosecution is a positive step, but it also raises a few questions too. How do we decide who qualifies for this program? And how will it address the underlying prejudices or misunderstandings that led to the offense? We should also evaluate its impact. Will participants truly understand the importance of racial harmony, or will they simply view it as another box to tick? Community involvement is key. will grassroots leaders and organizations play a role in shaping or running these programs? Their involvement could bring authenticity and trust to the process. What happens if someone doesn't complete the program? Will there be room for appeal or second chances? And how does this initiative fit into the overall bill? Could it serve as a softer community-based complement to the more stringent restraining orders? Lastly, Mr. Speaker, sir, policies alone don't build harmony. People do. This is why constructive engagement with the public is so important. Part 5 of the bill outlines oversight mechanisms. Will there be regular public consultations to ensure these measures remain relevant and effective? Listening to people's lived experiences can make our policies stronger. How will the Presidential Council for Racial and Religious Harmony work with communities on the ground? Solutions must feel inclusive and co-created, not imposed from above. Education is critical too. How can we make public awareness campaigns engaging for everyone to understand their role in maintaining harmony? Empowered communities are harmonious communities. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, sir, Singapore's journey towards racial harmony has not been without its challenges. The painful lessons of the 50s and 60s, the racial unrest, the scars of the Maria Hertogh riots serve as stark reminders of how fragile harmony can be. But they also gave rise to a commitment, a collective will to build something stronger, something lasting. We are here today because of the hard work, the courage, and the vision of those who came before us, who understood that racial harmony is not just a hope, it is a necessity. We have come far. The 2023 Gallup World Poll ranked us first among 135 countries as a great place for racial minorities to live. 92% of those polled said they felt welcomed. Yet we cannot let these positive numbers lull us into complacency. The 2024 MDDI poll also reminds us that nearly half of our fellow Singaporeans still see racism as a problem, and more than half have experienced racial insensitivity online. These aren't just statistics, they are a call to action. We must continue to push forward. We must strive for an environment where every Singaporean, whether born here or new to our shores, understands that racial harmony isn't just a policy, it is a shared responsibility. There's no place in Singapore for biasness that divide us. We must make it clear, now and always, that racism has no place here. Mr. Speaker, sir, racial harmony is not a static achievement. It is a living, breathing reality that requires constant care, constant work. This bill is an important step, but it's only the beginning. Today, I've raised in my speech questions that we must answer together. First, how do we ensure that our efforts to protect harmony does not come at the expense of meaningful, honest dialogue and freedom of expression? Second, how do we safeguard our openness to the world without allowing foreign influence to undermine our unity? Third, how do we ensure that the Community Remedial Initiative is more than just a program, but a true opportunity for understanding and healing? And lastly, how do we engage every member of our community in the ongoing work of nurturing racial harmony? Let us remember that true harmony is not just about avoiding conflict. It's about building connections, about recognizing our shared humanity, acknowledging our differences, and yet seeing what unites us. Singapore is often hailed as a model of multiracial harmony, but models can't stay static. They must evolve just as we must. We owe it to ourselves, to our children, to our future generations to keep moving forward towards a Singapore where every individual feels seen, heard, and valued. This bill gives us the tools to make that vision a reality. But it's up to us to inspire the kind of harmony that goes beyond legislation, to inspire the kind of harmony that lives in the hearts and minds of every Singaporean. Let us legislate for harmony, but let us also live it. Let us empower every Singaporean to not just be a passive observer, but an active guardian of the harmony we hold so dear. Thank you, and I support the bill.